Welcome to GloryHoundd and the Uninvited Gamers. I'm your host, GloryHoundd, and tonight's Uninvited Gamers are
Dr. GloryHoundd.
Greg Dixon, watch out. He's grumpy tonight.
Everybody's super grumpy
I'm
right
happy.
now.
Till I got together with you guys.
I wasn't like looking at you guys, and then I went over to the film thing, and I was like, damn. Okay, so yeah. Do you guys want to talk about super bad
No.
gamers? Oh.
Super bad what?
Super bad gamers. I want to talk about our super awesome experience that we had with Munchkin 40K.
Oh, gosh.
And the terrible
gosh,
gamer
golly.
that was there. Yeah.
Gosh golly, that was a rough one, eh?
So, you know, like when you sit down at a convention table and you're like, yeah, this is going to be fun. We're going to play this new game. It's going to be amazing. It's amazing.
Well, it was worse because it was like a high-level Munchkin person, right? It was Guy, and he was trying to show off a prototype of a game. And he invited in 2 players, and then we got in because you demo with Steve Jackson constantly. Right. You're one of their main people.
Right.
And I got in because I know you. And so there's like 2 kind of like ringers because like I played a lot, and then there's another, and there was like a newer player, and then there's a guy who also plays it a lot.
Yeah.
And the first thing he says is, "This better be better than Munchkin X-Men because that is unplayable." And we played Rick or Morty, and those cards were broken and unplayable, and I can never play that game again.
And yeah, Guy's like, well, and Guy did like an amazing job of just diffusing everything. Like,
to be fair, I said, I don't think you like Munchkin. Because the way the guy was complaining, I was like, are you sure you want to be here for this playtest? You don't like the game.
Yeah, he's like going through all the cards, and he's like, this card's broken, this card's broken.
This
and
power
like,
level
oh
on this card is way too much. It's like, well, in comparison to the other cards, calm down.
You haven't even played the game yet. You don't even know. You're like literally just looking at the cards.
I don't think you play Munchkin for like that.
There is a competitive aspect to it, and this guy was like the most hardcore competitive Munchkin person I've ever seen, but also angry about it.
It's more about the experience
than
like whether every card is perfectly balanced.
You know what it was like? It was like I was playing Magic the Gathering.
It
yeah,
was.
that's
not
what it sounds like.
I play it, but there's people that play it for fun, and there's people that play it and they slightly hate themselves because they're playing it, but they're there to win.
And here's the thing. It was like all this is conspiring, like all this is happening in front of us, and like guys over here trying to diffuse everything, and it was like all of a sudden, like me and Dr. GloryHoundd looked at the other player, and like our eyes locked, and there was like that pact there where we're like,
so sorry,
we're gonna fork this guy over.
You guys were going through something together.
Yeah, we're all looking at. We're like, we're not gonna let this guy win. Like,
I was glad that for the most part,
it was like we were best friends all of a sudden, like magically. Like
I was just glad that most of us were like I wasn't. I wanted to play it for the experience, but I'm not super invested in winning because I'm like, I don't need the promos for winning. Right. We have those.
Because we do a bunch of stuff for
So I'm
Steve
glad
Jackson.
at least there was that because like I think if we would have been there and it would have just been like 2 other newer players,
oh my
it would have just been messed up. Like they would have been like, Munchkin sucks.
So did he get beat? Did you beat him down?
No.
Did he win after all that?
He ended up winning because
even after your pact.
This is why.
Okay,
this is why.
We were trying so hard
right away.
I was like, I am beating this person. Like, I am gonna get to 9. I'm gonna F this up. Like, this is happening. I got there as fast as possible.
The problem you run into though is like I was there and I could have like let her win. But it was like we were there to play test the game, and she would have won like in the first like 10 minutes. So it was like,
yeah, I was playing super fast.
So I shut her down. I stopped her by like making the guys run away.
So you ruined it.
Then I got there, and then they shut me down, and then I got there again, and
the
they shut me down
shutdown was
again.
like I had to pretend like I was shutting him down. So I'm like, oh no, I have this +2 on the monster.
So she hit 9 first, then I hit 9, and I got stopped twice from winning. And so then by the time we were on our 4th person trying to hit that was at level 9. It was going to win. Everybody just ran out of gas at that point.
Well, it was like
which is how Munchkin works.
I would have won if I had drawn a monster for those 4 to 5 rounds that I drew nothing, basically.
Because like I hit 9 and then I hit 9 again, and you just didn't hit a monster, so you
100% we were on board with freaking getting there and stomping that guy. Yeah, like I just needed the card draws. Is what it was.
Bad because the thing
and we were trying to make it look like we were because everything was very minimal. You know, like help.
Nobody helped each other, and there was like cool promos involved. And the way I do
I was just angry. I was like, this guy's got to go down.
I was hoping one of us would win it because then we could like pass the promos out to everybody and kind of spread the love.
Yeah.
But this guy was just like, whoop, grabbed his promos and left. I was like, okay, cool.
You know,
like, I don't want them, but you could have hooked up the other guy who's played Munchkin like 3 times.
I brought up this story because like if you've gone to conventions, there's been plenty of occasions probably that everybody's ran into a bad gamer. And I'm sure that some people can share that experience of looking across the table and being like, yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah, if I didn't already like Munchkin, that would have soured me on the game forever.
Yeah, and you can't let that affect the game for you, though. You
gotta try it again.
You really do.
That's why you gotta try every game at least twice, generally, because Yeah, if that would have been my first time playing Munchkin, I probably would have been
Right.
like walked away like I'm never playing this again.
Right.
But
It was
I've
such-
played a lot of it, and it's not a bad game. It's an enjoyable game with the right mindset.
I loved the Munchkin Warhammer cards and stuff. It was super fun. I enjoyed the game. Dr. GloryHoundd enjoyed the game. The other person at the table that wasn't pissed off the entire
Enjoyed
game
the game.
enjoyed
Where
the
our
game.
super player
yeah.
kept like reaching over and like, you can't do that. That card wouldn't work like that. And then he would play his turn and be like, oh no wait, I meant to swap this way, and then this card here, and then I'm gonna play
But
more DACA, and then this does it, and you're like, I'm
It
like,
kind
you almost
of-
want to stop and be like, are you sure you're just not straight cheating?
Yeah.
Like, because he was such a power player too that he was like.
That's
Like
annoying.
Well-
messing with stuff. He kept taking his turn back and then doing stuff on other people's turns. I'm just like, I wasn't
Oh, I
super
forgot to get
invested
that
in
point. I was supposed to get
exactly
that
Yeah.
kind of
that
act
type of
stuff.
player, but then
Yeah.
would stop you from doing it. He's like, well, you should have done that on your turn.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's just like
So he's not holding every other player. Like he's holding himself to a different standard than everyone
Yeah,
else.
Yeah.
he's keeping himself to a casual standard, but keeping everybody else
Everyone
at
else
competition
super
levels.
strict. Yeah.
Well, you couldn't do that in a competition. We're not playing a competition.
yeah.
We're
This
play
is
testing.
a demo at a con, dude.
Yeah, we're play testing.
right?
We were literally there to play test to make sure that like we didn't see any gaping holes where like
Right.
cards just didn't work or didn't make sense. That's
Yeah.
literally what we were there for.
Basically, we were there to try to break the game, is what it
Yeah,
was.
just
you
weird
know?
stuff like this
Yeah.
card doesn't make sense to me, and I played a lot of Munchkin. So like, how does this work? So they can go, oh, well, we'll clarify those rules for the
Right.
for the production
But
copies.
it's a great learning experience in the fact that, like, at least, I mean,
I learned I hate that guy.
Since I demo games a lot, like, I've ran into tons of those types of players before.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, and, like, knowing how to handle them, like, Guy did an amazing job handling this guy and stuff. And just hopefully other players who have this happen, that won't ruin your experience.
Well,
for
what
the
are some
game and
things that you
everything.
do actually? Because I feel like it'd be good to tap into your kind of expertise
Well,
as someone who demos a lot. How do you kind of like
a lot-
ease the tension when
so,
you've got a douchebag
a
like
lot
that at the table?
like Guy had done was just, all right, thank you for your opinions and stuff
Right.
like that. You can write them down on this sheet here that, we're
Yeah.
tracking stuff. But being not engaging in that combative nature.
Right.
Like, he's like, well, this is broken and this is happening, and go,
Instead
oh,
of
okay.
discussing
Just
it, he's
like,
like, oh,
yeah.
cool, write it
Noted,
down.
moving
Yeah,
on.
exactly. Not going, well, no, we've done this. No, you don't want to do that.
Don't
you just want to go,
engage.
Yeah.
oh, okay, well, thank
Where
you.
I handle it completely differently.
You punch him in the face.
And then,
No,
yeah.
I don't. I actually go
burn
like
down his house.
no, I will generally go the more joking route. I'll be like, oh, clearly you don't like this game. And I'm like, you do know we're all going to kill you now, right? And I kind of almost
Yeah.
do that. Now, that typically, with my approach, everybody else at the table has a lot more fun with it. But the person that I'm making the jokes about typically will have a worse time. And that's not on purpose, but it's like I feel like I need to raise everybody else's time up because this guy's like bringing it down.
Well, like he's bringing down like the morale of the group.
Yeah, so
And
I bring the rest of the
Right.
morale up, but it doesn't help diffuse the situation with that person. They usually will not like me after that.
Well, and
which I'm sure you lose a lot of sleep over.
Not really, no.
Yeah, exactly.
I've ran
Because
into
if you're ruining games, like don't be in my hobby. Don't play games to hate games.
I've
Don't
ran
ruin my
into
hobby.
a lot of other players like that have that combative nature where they're like, well, this isn't supposed to be this way in the rules. And I'm like, oh, well, here, let me get the rules out. Let's take a look. And, I'll re-review something. I'll be like, oh, you know what? You were right. I was playing the wrong way. We'll play that way next time or next round or
But
something
we're already
like
in
that.
this, yeah.
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 But, but not getting engaged. Well, this is the way I play. So this is what we're going to do. Like,
Well-
you don't want to engage that negativity that they have and then amp it up.
Well, you don't want
just
to get into
wanna,
an
like,
argument.
right?
And there's a
because
certain
it
degree when
ruins
you've
it
been
for
playing
everybody.
it. If you've been playing it slightly off, you kind of almost need to finish that way too.
Yeah, because
we
that's
had
how
somebody else
everybody's
that
been
had
playing.
they had Lords of Waterdeep ruined for them because it was going along. They all agreed on one rule. They kind of got messed up early on, and at the very end, he's like, "That's not how it would work." And he started being so combative about it that like 3 of the other people just like walked away. They're like, "Fine, whatever, dude."
Right.
Yeah.
And one person was like,
Right.
"No, we're not going to change the rules for you." And like now, it was actually the Funkhausers, and they're like, "Yeah, like his wife does not want to. Lizzie does not want to play Lords
Yeah.
of Waterdeep anymore because that person was so combative
Yeah.
about it that everybody else just walked away in frustration. But she stuck
I don't
to
get
her
that.
guns.
I don't get that.
Why do you need to win that
mentality.
bad?
Why does someone want to like ruin the fun of everyone? For
'Cause-
what? To what end? What does that do for?
Right, because you know what
I don't
happened?
know.
They won Lords of Waterdeep.
So do they? But is that really?
Well, hold on.
Yeah,
They-
go ahead. Go
what
ahead.
happened? They won Lords of Waterdeep, but they've also never played with that person again.
Yeah.
So they won Lords of Waterdeep, but lost their game group. So
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
luck, I
Like,
guess.
What's
Good job.
the point? Yeah, I don't understand that.
If you're not enjoying the game, then just don't play it, please.
And if you find yourself in that position where you're like, I think the group's playing it wrong, don't be a jerk about that.
Yeah.
Either go, hey guys, real quick, I think just maybe for a future play or whatever.
And if it's
I
early,
noticed we're
you
doing
can
this
change
thing.
it.
I
Right.
think it's off, but I just wanted to point it
Right.
out. Like, don't be the guy who's like, this is all invalidated. Your turn sucks. You guys are losers because you're doing it wrong.
Don't play people's
Don't
turns
be
for
that-
them.
Right.
Don't be that
right.
person.
No, not at all. Because
Be
it
an
does.
ambassador. Make other people want to play these
And the
games
goal
with
should
you.
be fun.
Absolutely. And you
Try
know,
to make sure everyone walks away from the table having had a good time.
doing a bunch of demos for people and stuff, it is okay to dismiss players from your table and just do that in like a really polite manner and be like, you know, all right, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but we're going to go ahead and stop the game here. We're going to end the game here. And instead of continuing on in this antagonistic way with everybody where everybody's not enjoying everything, just end it. You know, just say, hey, you know what, we're going to stop now because we weren't playing it the right way, or we're having some issues with the game, so we're just going to stop. And then start cleaning up, like, no problem.
Is that something you've had
like,
to do?
That is
Yeah.
something I have had to do.
Wow.
I said,
I'll watch
thank
do it.
you
That's
so
awkward.
much for having me demo this game
It's a
for
demo.
you.
Like,
but
you're not
Right.
obligated to play
We're
the
going to
whole
end
thing
here
through.
right
Right.
now,
If people
and
are
I have
hating it.
other
We
people
have
that
other
are going to
people
want
are
to play.
interested. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
so I'm going to clean up now so these other people can play.
In
and
some
then
ways, that's easier.
that just dismissed it.
Yeah,
it really did.
as a demoer, you kind of always have that out of, hey, there's people waiting to play, versus like just playing with some random person at a con.
Right, because there's no
There's
there's
no-
no rule that says you have to finish it if it's not
You
going
don't.
well. You
You
can say,
don't.
Yeah.
hey, thanks
Yeah.
guys for playing it. I'm gonna go ahead and get it set up for the next group. If you have any questions, feel
Yeah.
free to let me know in between rounds or something.
Right,
You can
yeah.
end it.
And just work on how you diffuse the players. That is what I would say, because a lot of times you can diffuse the situation. And then, although we hated that one guy in Munchkin,
I didn't have a bad time.
I didn't have a bad time playing, because Guy, like, he did a really good job of diffusing what that guy was doing. He was working up all this animosity, and then once he got calmed down with his animosity towards the cards, like, after that gameplay was a bit better. So, like, if you can learn how to do that, like, that's the best thing to do. And I feel like we went off on like this huge tangent.
No, I
Sure
think this is
did.
good stuff though, because especially if you find yourself at a lot of events or cons or something,
Right.
you're gonna run across these kind of things. So I think
Yeah.
it's worth talking
Yeah.
about.
Well, like a good rule of thumb is if you find yourself a lot of your games go this route, make sure it's not you. Like, make sure you're not that rules lawyer
No,
that
absolutely.
makes it unfun.
That's true.
If you
That's
find yourself
true.
reaching for the rule book 15 times in a game,
Yeah.
every game, no matter what game
It's
you're playing,
okay. Like,
if you're playing Kitty Paw and you've gone for the rules 7 times, it might be you. Maybe calm down. Remember, it's about enjoyment,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're not going to win every game. And
every
if you
game-
have to beat people to death with the rules book to win, then people aren't going to want to play with you.
Well, and if
Yeah.
you find a rules mistake too, and you want to bring it up,
Do so, but in a
figure
good
out
way.
your tone. You know, like decide to
Pretend
do it
like you're an adult.
exactly.
pretend
Like you would
like
do at
you're an
work.
adult.
Right.
Yeah.
If somebody does something wrong at
No,
work,
that's
you
a
don't
good
walk up
point.
to him and be like, Sheila, you suck at emails. You're fired. You
Yeah.
say, hey, Sheila, I noticed your email didn't look real good. Did you want some help? I can show you some of my stuff, or I've got
Right.
some templates you can
Right.
use.
Just for future
You don't go,
reference. let
Sheila,
me-
you suck,
yeah.
and I hate you as a person, and I hope you choke on broccoli.
Yeah, because, you know, those people that are demoing the
Specifically
games for
broccoli.
you,
We talked about choking on broccoli.
the people
We
that
did?
are demoing
with you.
games for
Oh,
you
sorry.
are taking time out of their convention
Yeah, they're usually
to
not
show
paid.
you how to play games. Like,
Right.
you better appreciate that person teaching you that game, because when I go to a convention, I have maybe like 3 hours during the day in which I have to eat and do anything else I want to do during
Yeah.
the convention
a good
Walk
break,
the
period.
too.
floor, check out
Yeah,
the booth.
and then the rest of the
That's a good
time,
break.
I'm your guys's like
Yeah.
demoer. My time is your time, like, and
I'm
you
there
have
to
to
make sure people
respect
have fun.
that.
It's not like
Yeah.
you're getting
And if-
paid. You got
Yeah.
a ticket maybe out
Absolutely,
of it. You
like-
know?
And if one person's
I'm
not
there-
having fun, then they're not my priority. It's everybody else.
Right.
Right.
I'm there to help you enjoy your gameplay and stuff, and like just give them a little bit of slack, man. You know, they've been on the floor for hours and hours
and
and
oftentimes
hours.
they
you
might
know?
have just learned that game the day before.
Yeah, like at
They might have gotten
our
10
booth,
minutes
yeah.
of a rules
Sometimes.
teach for themselves.
Yeah,
I'm
where
not
they're
saying
like,
necessarily
hey,
Steve Jackson, but like I've
other newer companies.
you'll
that
go
might
to the
not be in
booth and you realize,
gauntlet.
oh, this person's just learning it
Yeah,
themselves. You
right,
know, they
right.
barely have the rules down. So,
So give them a little bit of slack. They're trying
Yeah.
their best to do what they're doing right now, you know, and all for you guys, you know, like
Now that you've all tuned out, let's talk about some games we played.
that's right. I'm sorry.
no, I think this is good stuff, man. I'm into it.
Now that you,
All right. Well, yeah, now that I've told everybody about all my experiences at convention.
she's got a little bit of animosity, but I think she's good now. I think she talked it out. We'll
we got
move
her
forward.
off the therapist couch. Now we
That's
can move
right.
on.
I feel so much better, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we played this week. I played Rise of Fenris. So Scythe, the expansion to that, which is a legacy style expansion to it. But
Campaign.
yeah, but with this like campaign
Permanent
legacy
choices.
style, well, with this campaign thing, I guess it's more of a
More of a
campaign because you're
campaign,
not
yeah.
actually like affecting the board, but you do have like pieces that are affecting the board, like layovers.
Things
maybe.
are added, but nothing's
Yeah,
torn up or destroyed
exactly.
or
Exactly.
They don't
changed
make you take a
permanently.
copy of Scythe and like rip the board in
Right.
half.
No, you can revert back. You can revert back. That's fine. You just have like sheets and stuff to track things on.
Yeah.
So it's more like a D&D style kind of campaign where things happen, but you're not like destroying stuff to make things happen.
Right. Yeah. And
Almost.
so with Rise of Fenris, this is so interesting. I'm going to try not to do any spoilers
Have you
for
fought
this. So this is
Fenris
going to be
yet?
really
Have you
interesting.
defeated? Have you defeated the god Fenris?
No, we have not. Although that would be really cool. So
You should have to fight him.
Here,
We're still pretty
I
early
should
in the
actually
campaign.
put my like little picture up here of us
There you
doing
go.
things.
Boop.
Hey,
So
Boops, he's so
cute.
cute. He just booped
Little
everybody.
bear says boops.
Russian bear boop you.
Oh.
That's what happens. That's what happens there.
In Russia, bear boop you.
So, the Rise of Fenris campaign is really interesting on how you are getting things and you can like modify your gameplay after that, because modifying gameplay is individual. So whenever you're playing the game, you kind of take what you have at the end, and whatever you have in those things, you get to like make upgrades. And I'm not going to tell you about the upgrades, but you do get to make upgrades to
So they're
your version
meaningful
of the
decisions.
campaign. Yeah, exactly. They are meaningful decisions.
So
And
playing the campaign,
the
like,
part that
it's
I
legit.
love is the fact that you don't know what you're going for. So you're playing the game as you would normally, and you don't know what the outcome of all of this is going to be. Like in a war, like you're doing your thing in your
Oh
war.
my
You're
God, I
focused
hope
on your
not.
group. Well, you're focused on your group and
you're
everything.
in a war, you're like halfway in the middle of it, and you're like, by the way, we killed all these people for no
I'm
reason.
saying
No!
I'm saying you don't know what the outcome is going to be.
Oh,
of
gotcha.
all of
There's
your
always going to
decisions.
be
Battle.
some kind of twist in
You're
the
go-
next game you play, and you don't know what that twist
Yeah,
is going to be.
You're
Gotcha,
making
that
all
makes more
these
sense.
decisions in the game, but you don't know like what they're going to allude to, like what you're going to get to with these decisions in the game. In the very first game we took a vote for something,
Spoiler
and
alert.
but I'm not going to tell them
Just
about the vote. But we took a vote
Tell us about the vote.
about something and how everybody was feeling with the gameplay and stuff, and then that carried out for the next game, and that was so interesting because it really changed the game.
I'll spoil it because I haven't played it.
Yeah.
I'll spoil the crap out of
But-
this game.
You go ahead,
Go for
spoil it. Do
So
it.
ruins-
All right,
I-
everyone. Spoilers.
No,
go.
I actually
Go.
could
Ooh,
spoil
wolves.
this.
Oh,
portion.
really?
Yeah.
Wolves,
Okay,
not-
I didn't know.
I know the
No.
results of this vote. I could spoil the crap out of this.
No, it really altered the next play
It
of the game,
really
though,
did,
based
and
off of that vote.
I was very surprised at how much it altered, because I thought making this choice, oh yeah, it's going to be like a small choice. It was a huge choice once we got to the next game. I was like, wow, one faction of this is
Well,
like,
you had
that's a bummer.
You had to actually sacrifice one of your
bummer.
friends, right? Like you guys
That's
made the
right.
vote, and then
we
you had
put,
to murder him.
We put Dr. Glory
and
Hog
then-
on the table.
Yeah, there's
and
a
then
shallow
there.
grave in
we
the back of
made-
Dan's
yeah,
house.
That's
I'm
right.
was not there. But we had to actually kill a person, and then we all had to videotape it, so
Well,
we were all going to go to jail if anyone talks.
I think that with a lot of those
Jeez, that's
campaign
dark.
games, with a lot of the
it's
campaign
Rise
games,
of Fenris.
you you upgrade your stuff and everything, but like the choices that you make might not fully affect like the game board, but this completely changed the way I played the game.
Well, I like that it makes changes to the game, and you could still just reset and redo the campaign over and over again.
I
And
Oh,
guess
absolutely.
it feels like you could play through the campaign multiple times and have a very different experience every time based off of how those things. Now
That's
we're very
Absolutely.
early in it so far,
Absolutely.
but unlike a lot of legacy games or campaign games, you're kind of like when you're done, you're like done. This one, I'm like, I could see, since it's short too, it's only like 8 games.
yeah.
Going like, let's try it again
Good
with a
replay,
different
yeah.
group or more players and make different decisions and kind of
Right.
see how it unfolds this time.
So
Absolutely.
I guess my main question for this is, with the changes that were made based off the first game, did she still just dominate you guys, or did it like close the gap of how much she
So
beat you
with
guys by?
Scythe, it's one of those games that I love, but I only play it once every like few months.
Yeah.
So I'm always feeling like I'm like rusty and
You're,
like trying to relearn
remember.
things. I did better than I thought I would do in this one because the vote did not go my way. But I was like, actually, I kind of like the direction it's gone, and it
I did
made for
too.
kind of an interesting twist
It
on
made
Scythe.
it much different, yeah.
But yeah,
Twist.
she definitely dominated. She's won everything so far in this campaign. So maybe we're gonna have to be like the Munchkin guy, and like
You're
the
gonna
rest
have
of
to,
us are
like,
gonna have to look at each
Get
other like,
together and make
"No,
the
we're doing
secret
it."
pact. You're going to lock
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah,
I can see that.
That's
happening
why
in the
I'm not going to
future.
buy her to my version of it.
Yeah. Can I come?
Yeah, you can.
I'll purposely lose.
No, I know you. It's not on purpose. You're just bad.
No,
So it's good.
I'm choosing.
If somebody
True.
had told me, "Hey, we're gonna drop like a campaign legacy style game on this and make it better," I would have been like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." Like, how much better can you make Scythe? Really? I mean, they've had several expansions that add some stuff to the game, but it's not as exciting for me. Like this Rise of Fenris campaign is exciting.
I'm really
I can't
excited to get back
wait
to
to
it.
see what's next. I can't wait
Me
to see
too.
what changes in the game. It's been my favorite, I guess, expansion that they've done for it. You know, I wouldn't call it an
pretty good?
expansion. Yeah, the other expansions are okay.
Tell me about the other expansions.
I'm not going to tell you about them because you're going to get upset with me.
This is the game she got me for Christmas. I played it once. It's no big deal.
I do like me some
Not
Scythe.
mad.
Yeah, 9 months ago.
Yeah.
Christmas present.
I played it
once.
once. Yep.
Wow.
I don't even know if she was there.
You
when
know,
I
you
played
guys,
it.
you guys
I
can play it
played
as a
it.
2-player.
I played it. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You guys got to bust
Actually,
it out.
Yeah.
aside Andy wants to play it with me real bad, so I'm gonna play it with
He
him.
wants to
probably.
play
Wait,
with
hold on.
everybody.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Scythe Andy?
Andrew.
Scythe Andrew, Andy.
He's sometimes
whatever.
known as
Andy?
Scythe Andy.
Andy?
He loves that game. You know he loves that game. That's all he plays. That's his favorite game by far.
I definitely recommend though playing the Rise of Fenris if you haven't
You
gotten any of
recommend
the,
it?
Yeah, if you haven't gotten any of the expansions or anything like that, like just go right to it. It's super awesome.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I am bitter.
We aren't very far into it yet, but it's
Yeah.
hard to imagine that it's going to somehow screw up in the
No,
last part
it's
of this.
very exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I mean, maybe we'll do an update
I'll never know.
once we finish it. So
No, you can play this again. You can
that's
play
right.
this one.
No,
you can experience
absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
have other friends I'll play it with.
this one. Okay.
Okay. All right. All right, Dr. GloryHoundd.
No, I'm done. I'm out.
What did you play?
I actually got to play with my good friends.
Oh, okay.
I got to play Royals. You guys weren't invited.
Oh.
Actually, I was, but I couldn't make it.
Yeah, well, that's why we played Royals, because you weren't there, garbage man. So we played Royals, and Royals is like an area control game with like kind of like a Ticket to Ride aspect where you're trying to like collect set collection, right? You're trying to collect certain cards to turn them in order to take provinces. So like as you can see on the picture I took here, so say you're going for yellow, you want to get 2 of these yellow cards, you turn them in to take that area. What makes Royals unique or interesting is that it's kind of like a point style. There's so many different ways to score points. Like you'll get points based off of how much control you have, how many of the areas you have, if you're the first one to take all the yellow areas, if you'll have the most influence with the actual people either on the top or the bottom. And it ends up becoming something where it's one of those games where like I was super far ahead the first round, and then when you play through like the second season, the second timeline, I was still pretty much on par. And then we played the third timeline, and I was on par. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to win this. And we start counting out points, and I was 20 points behind.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
Really?
Because I won like all the bonuses the first round, and I got the biggest bonuses that first round.
Yeah.
Because I was like the first one to get like influence with all the different royals. And then I was like the first person to like take all of an area. So I got those points. So I got a lot of the extra bonus points. And then I ended up at the end of it, I was like 20 points behind. And the other 2 people were within like 2 or 3 points of each other. It was really close for them. But it's definitely one of those Euros where like you flip over your points and you start counting up. You're like, oh yeah, I got 95. And then like I look over at Alex. He's like, I'm at 121. I'm like,
You're like, oh, well, then.
Never mind.
Ouch. And I'm like, are you sure? And I got like looking at his things. I'm like, he can't be right. I'm counting. I'm like, crap. And I look over at Andrew. He's like, yeah, I'm at like 119. I'm like, oh.
Don't you love that when you have a big score and someone else at the
And you're,
table
like,
starts
all
doing the
excited.
math on your points? Like,
Yeah.
hold on, let me just. You're
Just
like,
let me
yeah,
know. Because
to a
look,
certain
I can
degree,
add to 100.
So I will say that I have definitely caught people with adding up things incorrectly. So I
Yeah.
do check. Not that it's like math is my strong suit, but like I just count it up quickly and I'm like, yeah, that math's wrong. Let's recount that
I
together.
like
Yeah.
double, triple, quadruple check mine because I feel like I'm always wrong whenever I do it. Like
You've
like,
gone
Oh,
both
we-
ways.
I want to double check.
just
I want to
remembered-
triple, double check. Like
Whenever so
I remembered Good Critters. I just remembered that you were counting something wrong with good. You still
yeah,
won,
yeah,
by
no,
the way.
right. It was the
But-
little bucks. I thought they were like 10,000 instead
And
of
they were
1,000 or
ones or
something.
whatever.
Yeah, like
And
something
I was
like that.
oh
yeah.
no, those are ones. And I'm like, please
Right.
let me win because of this. Please let me
Right,
win.
you're
And then
like,
you
"Come
still like
on."
kick my
You're
butt.
like,
I'm like,
"God dang."
never mind.
a lot of times if you like really pay attention, you can sometimes makes the difference, you know, because sometimes a point or two makes all the difference in these types
Yeah,
of games.
yeah.
So it was a very interesting game. I would definitely play it again. I liked that throughout the whole game, everybody thought they were winning. until
that
the end.
always makes a game
which
really
I
good.
like that. Like that's
it
how you
keeps-
get with like Lords of Waterdeep and stuff. Where you're like, oh yeah, I'm winning.
Yeah, it keeps everybody 100% invested in the
Yeah,
game,
that's
and
you
that's
can
huge.
win,
huge.
and
yeah.
you can be like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
behind in the points that you can see, and then you start flipping over stuff, and you're like, but wait, and you just shoot it across the board, and you're like, actually, I
Yeah.
win.
right. Yeah.
I like that aspect of games, and I like that there are so many different ways to play this. I feel like I would probably change my strategy playing this again.
Okay.
But it was very kind of simple to learn once you actually got past the anxiety of looking at this board filled with tokens, and here's how you can win this points, and here's how you can win these points, and here's how you can win this
I think
points.
that's important to point out how simple it is to learn. Like
It's
to me, this
super-
is like Ticket to Ride level.
Yeah,
8,
it is really.
Yeah.
But determining
but more
like how you
engaging
play
than
it,
Ticket to Ride
yeah.
for me.
because Ticket to
Mm.
Ride, the hardest thing is getting the trains and then like getting your routes right.
Yeah,
This is much more like trying to make sure you have influence with the right people, and then having all the right territories, and then hitting them at the right times and during the different time frames, because you're getting influence with all these different royals through different time periods. And I like that it had the 3 different rounds that you
Yeah.
play that were very distinct, and the point totals were different for all of them. And it is definitely a race to be the first to get to certain areas. So it was a good game overall, definitely. And this has been reprinted, and this one's by, I think, Arcane Wonders
Arcane
reprinted
Wonders.
this one
Yep. And
just
it's
recently.
for 10 plus, 2 to 5 players, and for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
The card mechanic is very similar to Ticket to Ride. We're trying to collect certain color cards,
And it's pretty.
and they have something that Ticket to Ride I wish had, where if you have like was it 3 of the same color, you can turn it in for the color
Right,
you
instead
need.
of trying to get like the wild
Oh,
caboose,
okay.
like you
So
can actually
that
just,
really like speeds up that process. You
That's
don't
nice.
You're not just sitting there going, "Oh crap, I can't get the card." I
yeah,
need.
there was definitely a time where I was
Right.
like, oh, I want to try to get this king, which is like the hardest one to get influence
Yeah.
with, and I was like, oh, I can't. And they're like, don't forget, you can turn in 3 of something else. For
Right.
I was like,
You're
oh, right, well, I'm gonna take it now.
"What?"
Boop.
It really improves
Boop.
on
Yeah.
Ticket to Ride. I mean, it's not
Give
route
me that
building,
king.
but yeah.
That's how you get every king. You go boop.
And there's some interesting scoring with the influence with the different royals at the end, where you can actually, if somebody ties as far as influence, you actually take the tile itself, and instead of getting like 16
This is
points,
so cool. Yeah.
you flip it over, you break it in 2, and then you both get like 6 points.
The like
Oh, that's
actual
really
royal is like a
cool.
puzzle piece. And
Yeah,
you
and
can,
so
like,
it splits in
That's
half.
you can like split it, and
fantastic.
you each get half of it.
So I like that representation. I
like
wish more
that.
games did that, where they
Yeah.
know there's going to be a lot of ties, because most games are like, oh, well, we both get the points, and then the tile's just there.
Right.
This tile breaks in half, and then it reduces the points. So it's not. It ended up being worth 18 points. I'm just using it as an example. It was like now it's worth 12 points, and we split those points instead of it being
Right,
18. So it
right.
really changed what the king was worth at the end. Instead of being like, oh, this is going to be who wins the game, it was like, oh, since we ended up tying it, like it ended up being like
and
not
when
as
you're
big of
getting
a
close
thing.
to the end, you can
Right.
really focus on, oh, that person's about to get the queen or whatever.
This is
I got to get my cubes on there so that I can make sure that gets split and pull
this
some
game
points away
definitely
from
is
them.
easy, but it goes deep. And the more you
Yeah.
play it, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing over there. And you can try to stop people and everything else.
Well,
I'm a big fan of this one.
Yeah, I'd recommend to play. And that's,
easy
that's coming
but
from me.
deep. So, said by GloryHoundd. Moving on.
Moving on.
So
She stops everything, and then
Greg
she's like,
Dixon.
and moving
Yeah,
on.
no,
Greg-
seriously.
Greg
After my
Dixon.
long, awkward
You're the
pause,
one that
moving on.
caused the crickets to start chirping.
I wasn't the one that said it. Jeez, I'm just saying.
I just pointed out what he said.
I was.
It's not my
I was
fault.
quoting
We
you.
got Michael Scott over here. That's what she said.
I was quoting you on what you were saying, so somebody can cue that up later, I guess. So, Greg Dixon,
That's
what
me.
did you end up playing?
Recently, we've been playing Prowlers Passage a lot. It's a 2-player game. My wife and I have been playing. I taught some other people as well. I got a chance to play this one at Gamma while it was still kind of it wasn't quite out yet.
Right.
And I was really excited to get my own copy once it was available. So I picked it up recently, and we've been playing it a bunch. It's very fast. It's very quick to learn.
It looks really intricate for being really fast and stuff. Like that's a lot of stuff out there. On a
Yeah,
small
it
board.
looks way more involved.
Looks
than it is.
complicated. Is
Yeah,
what it looks.
you see the tokens on the picture there. Basically, the turn is as simple as putting down your own little like road piece, picking up that token, and then whatever cities you're touching, whatever colors you're touching with your road, you'll see you're touching
Do you get
two
like
half.
bonuses or something?
You move there's like a tug of war track on the side. You'll see
Oh,
those
yeah, yeah.
wooden buildings.
like Starship Samurai, where you're kind of like
Yeah,
influenced.
or like Seven Wonders Duel. It reminds me of like the military
Okay.
track. So you're trying to
Okay.
bring the colors to your side because ultimately you only score in that color if it's on your side of that tug of war. So a big part of the game, because it has more hexes than you use every time, is sort of analyzing the board when it's first set up, figuring out which colors there's sort of less or more of, and planning your strategy accordingly. Which that alone, throws in tons of replayability. And then some of these tokens are double-sided as well, so you're gonna have a different amount of different colors as you play as well. So there's a set collection element.
It's kind of puzzly then.
Yeah, it's puzzly. There's a set collection element. There's like a longest road element. Think of like Settlers of Catan.
Okay.
And the theme of it, while I think it's a little tacked on, I played it with people who really think the theme is there.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you about the theme, because the theme is that you're breaking into houses and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
you're basically you're prowlers.
Yeah.
You're
Prowler.
thieves. And so what you're doing is you're basically creating.
But to be
these,
a prowler, you're like laying roads. I almost feel like this would have been better as like a city builder.
No,
almost,
you're
right?
creating like these underground paths to basically break into these buildings and steal the goods.
So like a smuggler's tunnel, if you will, or something.
Yeah.
What would you smuggle in your tunnel, Greg?
Ask Richard Gere. So, and then there's these statue ones. If you surround, even if the other player it contributes to the surrounding of a statue. If you play the final road, then you grab that piece.
But how important is the statue for final points wise?
It depends. So there's 3 different objective cards.
So it's variable.
Yeah, there's a deck of objectives, and you deal out 3 each time you play, and those are different every time. So sometimes the statues are going to be really key. Sometimes they're not as important. They're always worth some points. And the other thing that's cool about this game is there's a mid-game scoring and a final scoring.
Oh,
I did like that.
So
like
if you
that.
can pull out some of these things really early, like statues really early, then you get those
you get,
points
like,
doubled.
points on that.
Right.
Yeah, and that makes huge difference.
Yeah, I like that there's the 2 scoring phases. How long would you say the game actually plays in reality?
It's really fast. I mean, you have 13 roads.
Really?
It's 13 so it's 13 turns each. You knock it out in 20 minutes, maybe 25.
So you do have that limit of, hey, you have exactly this many turns.
But there's a lot to think about for a game that's this simple to pick up, because you want to like block the other person to limit their road. You're fighting over all these different pieces that you're trying to tug of war.
Right.
You're analyzing the board to say which color is there a lot of, which color is there little of. So that'll change up your strategy.
So even though it's
Same
a
thing with the
2-player game,
tokens.
you feel like there's a lot of different options.
Yeah, there is.
There's not just like one strategy.
You
this is the
can't
best.
just play it the same way every time.
Okay, well that's good. That's important with a 2-player game.
And it feels like the different colors are pretty balanced.
Okay.
Some are kind of easier, like more like the points are just straight up easy points to get, where some of them are harder. But the ones that are easier to get, aren't worth quite as much. So they find a way to balance all the colors pretty well.
Really?
I really like
so
this.
You're a fan then.
I'm a fan. This is J. Alex Cavern, which I should have said up front. Same guy who did Sentient and World's Fair 1893. I mean,
I like Sentient.
He's on a real roll with these games where like you learn them. They're a fast play, but they pack a lot of choices into a short amount of play time.
That's really cool.
Sentient's like that for
because
sure.
Sentient is definitely
Yeah,
like that.
Sentient.
It's easy,
you roll those
to
dice
learn,
and you're like,
man.
what do I want to do with
I
this?
taught Sentient to Meeple Lady, who she's all about like 8-hour 18xx games and giant meaty euros, and she loved Sentient. You
yeah,
played
I
it with
love
us.
Sentient too. Yeah,
It burned that brain. Meeple Lady's like 8-hour Euro brain, who like her idea of a filler is like 3-hour Battlestar Galactica.
That's right.
And she was like, "This Sentient.
Oh, this is good. Yeah,
I like Sentient because I actually win Sentient a lot when I play it. I don't think I've actually lost it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
I think
awesome.
I've always won Sentient. So
Yeah, no,
I'm a
it's
fan.
Okay.
It's
I'm a fan of any game that I can win constantly over her.
Consistently.
So this is that same designer. So yeah, I really recommend it.
So I'm getting this
Alright.
one then. If you think I can beat her.
Yeah,
with
no,
it.
this seems really cool.
It's Renegade Games. It's got a lot.
Oh, this is Renegade Games.
Yeah,
that's right.
And they're on a roll as well. I think this is a great
Renegade's
combination. J.
they're
Alex
doing good
Cavern,
stuff.
Renegade Games, both of them are on a roll.
When did this end up coming out?
Just this year.
Just this year.
Like I said, when I was at Gamma.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it. Like, man, Renegade's putting out some stuff.
Well, they're
and
putting
like,
out a lot of stuff.
And you're not hearing
Well,
everything
you hear
that
about
they're
their
putting
bigger
out.
ones.
you hear about
often.
Clank and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, but you don't hear about the
This
smaller
is
stuff.
fantastic. Okay, I want to play this. So you're.
It's good. I'll show it to
our
you sometime.
house like next
2-player
week or
only.
something. Oh,
Yeah, you can watch the
okay.
kid.
Yeah.
And me.
You are the kid in this situation.
Oh.
I hate it when mommy and daddy fight.
I'm so sad.
There you go, Prowlers Passage. Check it
That's
out.
right. Absolutely. Well, we had some really awesome, fun games to talk about. I'm excited. I want to play more Rise of Fenris.
I'm excited to get back to it.
Have you actually played
Prowlers
Royals?
Passage. I haven't played Royals.
You do really well at it.
Would
Royals
I?
is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because it is very
I
territorial.
beat everybody at the table.
You do really good with area control games.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Set collection, area control points out. It's
Yeah.
got a lot going on for a game that's so simple to learn.
You guys can
Royals.
tell
Yeah,
me
she
about
does
like
good
more
at those.
things I do really good at.
Your hair's pretty.
I can't
Oh,
talk about
oh.
that on. on the
I
air.
love your
I'm sorry.
mic stand.
There's a lot of things you're really good at,
Wow,
but they're not
Greg, you're really
appropriate.
bad at this. Like Stephanie, like
Well, I don't want to be like
I
say.
mean,
I don't want to say something that would like your husband's right here. I have to be careful not to say something.
no, I meant about
inappropriate.
games and me being good at games.
You
God,
beat us all the
guys.
time. You beat us at
Jeez,
games you're learning. It drives me
same.
nuts.
Does it?
We'll sit there and like I've played it before or something like
That's why she doesn't let me go anymore.
Oh, she's afraid you're gonna.
I
beat her.
usually actually do pretty good with the first timers luck, where I'm like, oh, I'm just learning the game, and then I'm like, oh, I won, I guess. Oh.
I think she picks up on rules quickly.
She
I do.
does.
She digests them. You don't
Yeah.
realize that she yeah. You'll be teaching the game, and it's like is she
Her
getting
strongest
this? And
suit
then,
is
yeah, she's
she
absolutely
thinks
got it.
turns ahead and stuff, which is why I
Yeah.
typically do better in like the
That's
drafting
probably also
or.
why she doesn't like dice games so much.
That's
Right.
exactly
And I
why
like
I
you
the-
don't
can't
like
plan
them.
ahead
But I
when
love
you don't know
those.
what your role's gonna
I
be.
love the.
Yeah.
You're more tactically minded.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
the okay. What's going on
Yeah.
right now? How can I turn this to my advantage?
Right.
Well,
I
and
love
that's
that.
what you end up finding out is that you end up winning a lot of games that you just have that particular skill in. Like you
Yeah.
having the tactical stuff where like, you think
Making
very
it work
quickly.
with what, you have
with
to
what
adapt
you
and
have.
overcome.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
like
you
a
mentioned-
strong skill.
Terrible at those
We
types
mentioned
of games.
sentient. If you're kind
Terrible.
of mathy, like if you've got a mind for
Right.
math, sentient, you're gonna have an advantage in. There's just
Yeah.
certain games where
You get to kind of see how different people's minds work whenever they play games.
And
that's
you
kinda
just don't
cool.
play the games you're bad at anymore, ever.
That's right, and you just ban them from your place.
Never
you
play
take the
chess,
box
just
and you
don't do
just
it.
like throw it out the door,
Yeah.
and that's it. I mean, that's
I
what you
wondered
do.
why when I came in, the King of Tokyo was just sitting out on the porch. The box was
There's
open. The
just stuff
pieces were strewn
everywhere,
about.
right?
I was actually
So
looking
weird.
up promos. For
There was
that.
like a
There's
pigeon
bunch of
like
promos I
pecking
need.
at the pieces. It was a mess.
Yeah, she's not very good at King Tokyo, actually.
I just don't like the game. Well,
It's okay.
Greg Dixon, where can we check you out? Check you out.
Well, you
at?
can see my little Instagram image that we had up earlier.
That's
Greg C.
right.
Dixon's my personal Instagram, but you can also follow Hooked on Geek. That's a podcast. We put it out every Monday, my wife and I, and that's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Check us out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. GloryHoundd.
You can find me everywhere. Everywhere where you see
Ooh.
Dr. GloryHoundd.
Oh my goodness.
Instagram, it's Dr_GloryHoundd with 2 G's at the end.
Right.
Check out definitely the tag where I've been showing off all the pictures of the games we're playing. That's the hashtag Uninvited Gamers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good place to kind of keep up on what we're doing. Of course,
Right.
definitely follow us because a lot of times while she's playing, like I'll be taking pictures. We kind of
I can't
switch
always
off who's
take all the
doing stuff.
pictures, guys. A lot of times I'm doing a lot of the technical equipment stuff or
so it's kind of good to follow
Yeah.
both to get both ends of it. Like
Yeah.
you might see like her on the screen, but I'll be behind the screen doing the video stuff. So I might
Right.
get some more behind the scenes stuff than she does.
right. So
But definitely look for her at anything GloryHoundd related.
yeah, at GloryHoundd.
Double D,
on,
GloryHoundd.
on Twitter and In Glory We Trust on Facebook and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe to our content. Ring that bell for our weekly shenanigans. We're also doing
Live Kickstarters.
Live Kickstarters. I'd
Yeah.
back that. We changed the name of our Kickstarter to I'd back that Kickstarter. And it's on, what is it, Kickstarter Board Games Community or something
Yeah,
like
Board
that.
Game
yeah.
Kickstarter. I
It's on
think.
Board
Facebook,
game,
yeah.
Board Game Kickstarter on Facebook. So
Yeah.
Fridays at noon Mountain
Live.
Standard Time.
30 minutes.
Live.
Shout at us.
Yeah, if you don't catch us
Check it out.
there, it'll be on YouTube too. But like, that's the best place to actually have comments, like
Well,
Yeah.
in
especially-
person.
And also, like, it's usually going to be the Kickstarters that are ending soon. So
I was
these are
gonna
ones
say
that,
that
like,
too, yeah.
you better spend
Yeah.
your paycheck now.
Right. And, having that live commentary, if you have something you want to ask us about the Kickstarter, that's perfect. You can ask it right then,
Yeah.
and we're going to answer your questions.
Like, if
you
you're
know?
wondering, like, okay, how much is the Kickstarter in terms of cost of Chipotle burritos?
Yeah,
I could tell
if
you that.
want to know the burrito
We-
to board game conversion,
Yeah,
like,
we've got that exchange rate down.
that's right.
So if
yeah.
you're thinking to yourself,
Mhm.
can I eat at Chipotle 3 times or can I get this game? Is it worth it? I'll tell
Yeah,
you should
I
eat at
know.
Chipotle or
right.
I'd back the game.
Right, absolutely. And we're also going to be doing live gameplay as well. So right now we have Mondays at 7 p.m. We're going to do live gameplay. Right now we have me versus Dr. GloryHoundd in a 2-player battle in Microbrew and Dice Throne. But after that, I want to get more players in here for bigger versus battles. I know that we were talking about a big scythe thing. Maybe we could do that. That'd be fantastic.
That'd
I've
be
had
awesome.
a scythe challenge by Andrew on... Well,
You've been challenged.
Yeah, I've
the
been
gauntlet's been
challenged.
thrown.
Yeah.
So we might
He
have to
thinks him
record
teaching
that.
you the game means that he can beat you now.
I know. So I mean,
He's pretty cocky.
you know what though? It's one
Shut
of those
him down.
things where like the student overcomes the master. So like
I like that you're talking trash, and there's no way for him to rebut. It's just like
He can rebut on his own time.
That's the way you do it, man.
look for Andrew's rebuttal in the comments on this video.
Monday.
That's right. But yeah, I think that's it. Anybody have anything else they want to talk about?
Oh, I'm spent.
Spend?
Yeah. It's
All right.
lunchtime.
Thanks so much for watching, guys.